why you should avoid rookies in 2020 beside CEH, because he has a clear workhorse path in front of him in a historic offense. Beside him, I'm not touching any rookies in 2020. I was high on Antonio Gibson before, but now that Darius Guice just got released, his ADP is going to skyrocket, and all these wide receivers that are going super late in drafts, they're not going to do anything until at least the second half of the year. So why am I going to target them and basically have them on my bench for 8 weeks while they're not doing anything? Today I'm going to show you a league winning strategy with these rookies, because this is probably one of the best draft classes we've had in a while, and a lot of talented players are in this class. So don't take this video the wrong way. I love these rookies, but here is a strategy and how you can still get them, but why you shouldn't draft them. So with all this crazy virus stuff going around, it's made a negative impact on the NFL. You know, training camp isn't the same, preseason isn't going to take place, and it's going to be really hard for all these rookies to really showcase their talent and basically prove that they're worthy of being the starter on this team and prove that they're better than everybody who's competing against them, because they are. But coaches want them to earn it, because it apparently stunts your growth if you just give them the role right away. So anyways, we already have that. So it's going to be way harder for rookies to even learn the offense, and it's going to be way harder for them to prove that they're worthy of getting more playing time than they're already aligned for. So you take that into consideration. You also take into consideration that coaches are going to look at this exact same thing that I just mentioned, and they're going to lean towards the veteran player, the veteran running back, the veteran wide receiver, more likely than not to start off the year early, because these rookies are not going to know a lot about the offense starting off. So they're going to be more lenient towards the veteran player and maybe give them a week, 2 or 3 more than they should have already gotten because of all this stuff going around. Now, don't get me wrong, I love rookies in 2020. I think this is one of the best draft classes, like I said, but why would I draft a guy who's not going to do anything for the first half of the season when I can draft somebody else, another high upside player who could boom, and I could use him as trade bait to later on target these rookies that I really like later on in the season, because they're not going to blow up right away. I guarantee you, they're not going to blow up right away. The circumstances are not in their favor whatsoever. So instead of drafting these guys in their current ADP, guys like Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, all who are the most talented running backs in their backfield, instead, wait a little bit. In week 4 and 6, when they're letting everybody down, when guys like Jonathan Taylor, who are being drafted as our RB2, in some teams, Jonathan Taylor will be an RB2. So week 4 to 6, when those teams are struggling because Jonathan Taylor isn't going to be this elite running back until later on in the season, target him with guys who you think are going to get replaced. This is why I love Mark Ingram in fantasy football drafts, because I think he's going to be very productive right away, but then in the second half of the year he's going to dip off, obviously, because J.K. Dobbins is going to come in and take that role. So what do? When Mark Ingram does good in that first half of the season, trade him away for a guy with high upside like Jonathan Taylor. So weeks 4 to 6, when these rookies are letting everybody down, because they will not get enough work to compensate for their ADP right now. And guys, the fantasy season is only 12 to 13 in most leagues. 12 to 13 games for a regular season. There's not much room for error on a week-to-week basis. So if these guys are starting off really slow, like Swift, Dobbins, Akers, and Jonathan Taylor, there's going to be a lot of teams who have these guys who expected them to produce right away, and they're going to look to panic. That's when you come in and swoop and get the most talented running back in that backfield. This also goes out for the wide receivers, because wide receivers, we know they do not do anything in their rookie year, except for Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuels, all apparently who are 24 years old and up. So these younger guys, who a lot of people love, they're not going to do anything their first half of the season. They might pop off in the second half. That's a maybe. But if you really like a guy like that, don't draft him. Instead, wait until week 4 to 6, one of those weeks when the owner starts panicking because they're not getting anything from that certain player. Go ahead, make a trade for them. That is how you will win your league in 2020, by not drafting any of these rookies in their current ADP and later trading for them later down in the season before we reach that second half of the season. These running backs will break out. All these running backs that were picked, CEH is already going to break out, obviously. But all these running backs who are in crowded backfields, who are taken in the second round of the draft, they will break out because they had the talent. They just need the opportunity. And we saw it last year with Miles Sanders. He had the talent all along. He just didn't get the opportunity until the second half of the season when Jordan Howard went down and when he actually got his chance to be the workhorse running back in this offense. So do yourself a favor. Do not draft any of these guys and wait a couple weeks into the season. Pick who your favorite running back is or who's available, which will depend who is panicking the most. And this obviously does not go out to everybody. I know a lot of leagues don't trade, but if you're in a trade happy league and there's a lot of trades going on in your league all the time, especially do this because you will be able to get these guys at a discounted price before they break out, because trust me, all of these guys will break out. Let's look at every single one of these backfields. DeAndre Swift, Kerryon Johnson, injury prone. There's nobody else on that team who even comes close to DeAndre Swift's talent. Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown sucks. Darrell Henderson did not show us anything last year that's even worth noting. Jonathan Taylor has Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack is injury prone as hell. Nowhere near as good as Jonathan Taylor too. So all of these guys are going to break out at one point in the season. It all depends who is the owner who has them, who is most panicked by the situation. Take advantage of that owner and swoop in before the second half of the season starts and they take off. That is the league winning strategy for rookies in 2020. So make sure to do this if you're in a league that's super trade happy, because I guarantee you this strategy will win you championships in 2020. That's all I have for you. Don't draft rookies aside from CEH. Trade for them weeks 4 through 6 before the second half of the season starts. And trust me, you will get rewarded for being patient. That's all I got for y'all. See y'all later.